What if I told you that you don't have to spend the next 40 years chained to a desk, counting down the days until you can finally start living? Imagine waking up one day, not because an alarm clock is blaring, but because you want to. You could spend your days traveling the world, starting a passion project, or simply enjoying a cup of coffee without rushing off to a job you don't love. This isn't some far-fetched fantasy, it's already a reality for many rewriting retirement. The traditional path of working until 65 is losing appeal to a generation that values time and freedom over a corner office. The whole idea of retirement is changing. It used to be seen as an endpoint after decades of hard work. But what if retirement wasn't about being old? What if it was the point where working becomes a choice, not a necessity? So what exactly is this FIRE thing everyone is talking about? FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. It's a lifestyle movement built on a very simple premise. If you can save and invest a large portion of your income, you can reach a point where you no longer need to work for money. At its core, it's about breaking the link between your time and your income. Financial independence is the FI part, and it's the most important. It means you have enough income from your investments to cover all of your living expenses indefinitely. Investments, living expenses, passive income, expenses =FI, like stocks, real estate, or other assets. You've built a money-making machine that works for you 24/7. The RE part, retire early, is more of a bonus. It's what you get to do once you've achieved financial independence. For some, this means quitting their job at 35 and never working again. For others, it might mean switching to a part-time job they love. The first and most powerful lever you can pull on your journey to FIRE is your income. While cutting expenses is crucial, there's a limit to how much you can cut. You can only reduce your spending to zero. However, there is theoretically no limit to how much you can earn. The more money you bring in, the more fuel you have to pour onto your fire. This doesn't necessarily mean you need to become a doctor or a lawyer. It means actively looking for ways to maximize your earning potential in your current career and beyond. Start by becoming indispensable at your primary job. Ask for more responsibility. Acquire new skills. Negotiate your salary regularly. Beyond your 9 to 5, the real magic happens when you start building multiple streams of income. This is where side hustles come into play. A side hustle is anything you do on the side to earn extra money. Driving for a rideshare service. Delivering food. Once you've got your income engine firing on all cylinders, the next step is to control where all that money goes. This is where the art of frugality comes in, and for FIRE, we're talking strategic, aggressive frugality. This isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself of joy. It's about being intentional with every single dollar you spend. Prioritize your future freedom over momentary gratification. Shift from how much can I afford to spend to how much can I afford to save. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar you can invest to buy back your time later. The biggest expenses for most people, the big three: housing, transportation, food. Housing, live with roommates longer. House hack, buy a multi-unit, live in one unit and rent out the others. Choose a smaller, more affordable apartment. With your income high and your expenses low, a gap is created. This gap is your savings rate. It is the single most important metric on your FIRE journey. Your savings rate =% of after-tax income you save and invest. Traditional advisors recommend saving 10 to 15%. The FIRE movement laughs at those numbers. To retire in 10 to 15 years, aim for a 50% or more savings rate. Yes, you read that right. Saving half or more is the secret sauce for early retirement. It separates a 40-year career from a 10-year one. If you save 10% of income, you save 1 year's expenses every 9 years worked. That won't get you retired soon. At a 50% savings rate, you save 1 year's expenses for every year you work. This math drastically cuts your timeline. So, saving a ton of money is great, but honestly, just letting it sit in a low-interest savings account is kind of a rookie mistake. Because due to inflation, cash that isn't growing is actually losing its purchasing power over time. If you really want to achieve FIRE, you need to put your savings to work. You need to become, well, an investor. This is the step where you build the passive income machine that will eventually fund your retirement. For most people pursuing FIRE, the simplest and most effective way to invest is in low-cost, broad market index funds. These are funds that hold a little bit of everything, like the S&P 500, which tracks the 500 largest companies in the United States. You don't need to be a stock-picking genius or some kind of Wall Street guru to be a successful investor. In fact, trying to beat the market is often a losing game. By investing in index funds, you're essentially betting on the long-term growth of the overall economy. It's a set-it-and-forget-it strategy that historically has performed very well over long periods. The key here is consistency. You keep buying these funds every single month, no matter if the market is up or down. Sometimes, the best motivation comes from seeing that other people just like you, have actually done it. The FIRE movement is full of incredible success stories that prove this path is not just a theory. Take the story of Peter Adeney, better known as Mr. Money Mustache. He and his wife worked regular jobs as software engineers, lived a frugal lifestyle, and managed to save enough to retire at the age of 30. They didn't win the lottery or inherit a fortune. They simply optimized their lives for saving, biking, driving. Their story inspired a whole generation of FIRE followers. Then there's Christy Shen and Bryce Leung, who documented their journey in the book Quit Like a Millionaire. Instead, they took the money they would have spent on a down payment and invested it. By living frugally and investing aggressively, they reached $1 million portfolio and retired in their early 30s to travel the world. The path to FIRE is a marathon, not a sprint. It can take a decade or more of intense focus and discipline, and it's completely normal to face challenges along the way. One of the most powerful tools for staying motivated is to meticulously track your progress. This means more than just having a budget. Track your net worth every single month. Net worth, assets minus liabilities, is your ultimate scorecard. Watching that number climb month after month proves your sacrifices are paying off. It turns $1 million goal into smaller, achievable milestones. There are so many apps and spreadsheets to help track spending and investment growth. Set mini goals like your first $100,000 in investments. Celebrate that milestone. However, intense frugality and focus can lead to burnout. You've learned the what, the why, and the how. You've seen that real people have turned the dream of early retirement into a reality. The entire FIRE blueprint has been laid out before you. Earn more, spend less. Invest the difference aggressively. It requires a radical shift in your relationship with money and a conscious decision to choose a different path from the one society lays out for you. The question is no longer whether it's possible, but whether you are willing to take the first step. You don't need to have a 50% savings rate tomorrow. Start by calculating your current net worth. Track your spending for 1 month. Identify one expense you can cut, like a subscription you don't use, and redirect that money into a savings account.